caught my parents giving my sister a $50,000 down payment for a house after telling me they couldn't afford to pay for my college. So I left them and went no contact. I'm a 23-year-old man, and I guess you could say life felt pretty average until I discovered how deeply my own parents were willing to betray me. Growing up, I always thought we had a decent family dynamic, nothing fancy but stable. My father worked a steady job, my mother picked up side gigs to supplement income, and I worked part-time whenever I could to save for college. My younger sister, on the other hand, never seemed to share that same hustle. She was the type who'd lounge around, whining if she had to do chores, always claiming to be too busy with social plans. My parents cut her a ridiculous amount of slack. Even so, I shrugged it off as typical favoritism. I had no inkling how extreme it would get. When it came time for me to attend college, I approached my parents to discuss finances. College was pricey, and though I had partial scholarships, they weren't enough to cover the entire tuition. I'd saved some money from part-time jobs, but not nearly enough. I sat down in the living room, hoping they'd help with a difference or co-sign a student loan. My father's face was grim. He said, "We just can't afford that kind of help." My mother chimed in, wringing her hands, emphasizing how tight their budget was. They expressed regret but insisted I'd have to take out bigger loans or figure it out alone. They apologized profusely, claiming it pained them, but that money's simply not there. Crushed but determined, I accepted their stance. I took on more part-time hours, accepted unsubsidized loans, and chipped away at scholarships. My schedule was brutal, studying, working nights at a diner, scraping by on minimal sleep. But I told myself it was worth it. My father once said, "You'll appreciate your degree more this way," which stung, but I tried to keep resentment at bay. Meanwhile, my sister coasted along, skipping college altogether, seemingly unconcerned about the future. Despite the struggle, I persevered. By my junior year, I'd racked up a fair chunk of debt, but my grades were decent, and I was proud of my independence. My parents occasionally repeated the mantra that they wished they could help, but times were just so tough. I bought it. I had no reason to suspect them of lying. I even reassured them not to feel guilty, that I'd manage. I remember one bleak winter day. I was juggling final exams and extra shifts. My mother sent me a text that they'd love to see me for a family dinner. My father offered to pay for gas if I came home. I found that sweet, though I worried about missing study time. Still, I went craving a home-cooked meal. Over the meal, they hammered on about how proud they were, how they wished they had the means to lighten my financial load. I believed them wholeheartedly. Then, everything flipped on its head. About a month later, in the midst of a post-holiday slump, my sister posted on social media a picture of a brand new house. She boasted about a $50,000 down payment that she'd gotten, thanks to family. She typed phrases like, "Blessed to have parents who made this possible." My eyes narrowed. $50,000 from them. How? My father and mother had told me they were in dire straits, that they couldn't even spare a fraction for my tuition. Yet apparently, they had $50,000 lying around to gift her so she could buy a house? My stomach churned. I scrolled through her bragging photos, the wide grin on her face, the newly minted front door, reading captions about how she was starting a new chapter. She never mentioned me or how she'd come to deserve such a sum. No mention of a job that might have earned her that. Just an outright claim that my parents had given her the down payment. In that moment, I felt a mix of fury and betrayal burning through my veins. I confronted my father first, calling him up. My voice trembled with anger as I demanded an explanation. "You said you couldn't pay a dime for my college, yet you handed her $50,000 for a house?" There was a pause. Then he mumbled something about how it was different, that my sister needed stability, and this was her chance to settle down. I asked if my pursuit of an education didn't count as a need for stability. He sputtered, claiming they had a sudden windfall or some variation. But the more he spoke, the more tangled his lies sounded. Next, I demanded answers from my mother. She repeated the same half-baked rationale. "Your sister's always had trouble focusing, so we wanted to set her up for success. You're more self-sufficient." That phrase stung like a slap. So because I was self-sufficient, I didn't deserve the same familial support? My mother tried to guilt me by pointing out how my sister never had your discipline, that it was your sister's turn to catch a break. Meanwhile, I was left with monstrous student loans. The hypocrisy made me shake with rage. I told them outright how betrayed I felt. For years, I believed them about having no spare funds. I'd grown used to skipping meals to pay for textbooks, working 2 jobs simultaneously. And now I discovered they were actually capable of dropping 50 grand on a whim for my sister's new life. My father's tone grew defensive, saying he didn't see it that way, that helping you with college would be money down a black hole, but a house for her is a tangible asset. I retorted that investing in my education was arguably more beneficial, but he brushed it aside. My mother tried a softer approach. I'm sorry if you feel slighted, but we had to make tough choices. My anger only deepened, hearing them frame it as a rational decision, ignoring the blatant favoritism. Meanwhile, my sister posted more pics of her new place, parading around rooms she planned to decorate lavishly. She typed, "So grateful to my parents for making this happen." Not a whisper about me or the fact that they'd turn me away whenever I asked for tuition help. I texted her a short message. "Congrats on the house. Wish you'd realize how messed up it is that they helped you, but never me." She replied with a flippant, "Don't be jealous. I needed it more. You're strong enough to handle your own problems." My blood boiled. Her entitlement was off the charts. She made it sound like I was whining for no reason. I tried venting to a close friend, who was appalled. She reminded me I had every right to be upset. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that not only had my parents lied, but they deliberately chosen to sabotage my potential growth for the sake of coddling my sister. She never asked me how my student debt was piling up or if I was stressed. She didn't care. Now she had her new house, courtesy of the same parents who told me, "We wish we could help, but we're broke." The betrayal weighed heavily on my heart. I started skipping phone calls from them, letting messages pile up. My father left voicemails, claiming I shouldn't blow this out of proportion. My mother texted me that it was a family matter, and I needed to show maturity. My sister taunted me via social media, implying I was throwing a tantrum. But for me, this wasn't a tantrum, this was the final straw. For years, I felt overshadowed by her lazy entitlement. Now it was proven beyond doubt that they'd never see me as worth investing in. My father or mother's biased stance made it clear my sister was the golden child, and I was an afterthought. Eventually, my father insisted on a face-to-face. He insisted we talk it out. I hesitated but agreed, hoping for some apology or closure. Maybe they'd vow to pay a fraction of my loans, or at least show remorse. Instead, I was met with defensiveness. They repeated how I was capable, how my sister struggles. The big news: they'd apparently always planned to help her get a house because that's real stability, while college was just a piece of paper. That line nearly made me walk out then and there. My mother tried tears, saying we love both our kids, but times are tough, ignoring how they'd magically conjured up $50,000 for my sister. The conversation concluded with me storming out. My father shouted, "Don't act so immature. You have a good head on your shoulders," as if my refusal to swallow their hypocrisy was childish. My mother sobbed that I was tearing the family apart. My sister snickered from the sidelines, twirling her house keys, smug as ever. It was a humiliating moment, but also clarifying. They'd never truly see my viewpoint, nor value fairness. In the following weeks, I vacillated between anger and heartbreak. I'd grown up hoping for parental support, or at least honest equality. But the reality was a mother and father so blinded by favoritism that they let me drown in debt while handing my sister a huge check. My sister's smugness continued, bragging about house renovations. She invited me to her housewarming party. The nerve. She even typed, "Come see what real success looks like," as if mocking me. My gut churned with raw resentment. I told my father or mother I was done. I'd worked my butt off in college, financed myself with loans, and would continue alone. But from then on, I wouldn't be attending family gatherings or dinners. I was severing ties. My father texted me that I was overreacting, telling me to let it go. My mother wrote a heartfelt message, peppered with guilt tripping about, "We did our best." I blocked them all for a while, needing mental space. The weight of my student debt still loomed, but at least I had my dignity. Suddenly, a new twist emerged. My sister's house apparently had structural issues. She discovered a foundation crack, meaning potential costly repairs. Another 10 or 20 grand needed, or so rumor had it. My father or mother apparently lamented they couldn't shell out more, as they were tapped out from the initial 50K. My sister, in her arrogance, demanded more help. She even tried calling me, presumably expecting I'd pity her. The call was short. I need money to fix the house. You have a job, right? My jaw dropped at her entitlement. She expected me to foot her repair bill after she got that $50,000? I hung up. No words could express my frustration. Then, through some extended family channels, I learned she'd started complaining that I was being selfish, refusing to help with her house repairs. She told them I was jealous of her. This was a new height of audacity. Some gullible cousins asked if I was truly ignoring her pleas. I told them the truth. She took a $50,000 gift from her parents, money they claimed they didn't have for my education, and now she wanted me to also bankroll her mistakes. They shook their heads in disbelief. A few recognized how twisted it was. They found her attitude horrifying. Finally, I reached my breaking point. I decided to cut them all off. No contact. No visits. No holiday meetups. The moment came when I saw the next holiday invitation from father or mother, some big family barbecue. My father sweetly wrote, "We want you to come. Let's put these disagreements behind us." I thought about how they never offered to rectify the injustice, never even tried to help me with a fraction of my debts. They simply expected me to bury the resentment and show up with a smile. I politely declined, saying I needed distance. My father called me, angrily labeling me ungrateful. That sealed the deal. So I drafted a final text. I can't maintain a relationship where I'm treated as second class. You had money for sister's house, but none for my college. You belittled my efforts. Let me drown in debt while giving her a windfall. Now she demands more. I'm done. Don't contact me unless you plan to sincerely address the inequality. I press send, feeling both sadness and relief. After that, silence. Days turned into weeks. My father left a couple of voicemails each, progressively more irate, accusing me of tearing the family apart over money. My mother texted me guilt-laden paragraphs about what would grandparents think, or we only did what we thought best. My sister posted a rant on social media, claiming I was resentful and abandoning family obligations. Some mutual acquaintances asked if I was fine. I told them the gist. They lied about being broke, gave $50K to my sister while refusing to help me. Everyone not under my sister's sway offered sympathy, saying they understood my stance. I quietly continued building my life. My job soon turned full-time. I started paying down loans more aggressively. Freed from the manipulations of my father or mother, I found a new sense of independence. A small sadness lingered. Despite everything, they were my parents, and I'd once hoped for their love and fairness. But I recognized they'd chosen to enable my sister's entitlement. Now they reaped the consequences. Word circulated that my sister's house repairs cost more than expected. She apparently faced large debts, complained relentlessly that nobody in the family helps. The irony was thick, given she got that massive sum to begin with. Some said father or mother were exhausted trying to bail her out again, but they had limited funds left after the initial outlay. The golden child was floundering, and I felt no pity. She had zero regrets about overshadowing me. Now she'd taste the reality of money mismanagement. In time, father or mother made one last attempt at bridging the gap. They wrote me a letter urging me to come home for a talk, promising we'd find a compromise. The letter was filled with half apologies. Basically, we're sorry you felt hurt, but nothing about repaying even a token portion of my college expenses. No acknowledgement that they lied to me. I read it once, shook my head, and never replied. If they truly wanted reconciliation, they'd do more than vague regrets. They'd address my sister's injustice. They never did. Finally, I moved to a different city for better job opportunities, not bothering to update my father or mother. We parted ways. A cousin told me father or mother criticized me behind my back, painting me as unforgiving. I let them spin whatever narrative they wanted. My immediate well-being was no longer entangled with their manipulations. Now, standing on my own, I found a measure of peace. The student loan debt is still on me, but I'm chipping away diligently. Meanwhile, sister is stuck with a half-renovated house and looming bills. She occasionally tries to contact me, either for money or a place to crash. I ignore her messages. That might sound cold, but after years of feeling like the cast-off child, I see no reason to rescue the golden child who squandered her big advantage. Reflecting on everything, it's tragic how money can rip a family apart. My parents favored her so blatantly, then lied to me about their finances, letting me scramble for college funds. The discovery of that $50,000 gift was the final blow, forcing me to realize they'd never treat me as an equal. Walking away was painful, but it was the only path to preserving my self-respect. If they view me as ungrateful, so be it. I know what truly happened. So that's how it concluded. I caught my parents giving my sister a $50,000 down payment for a house after telling me they couldn't afford to pay for my college. Feeling betrayed, I ended contact. They still refuse to see how deep that betrayal ran, but I've learned to stand on my own. In a twisted sense, that made me stronger, while my sister's entitlement left her in debt with no one left to bail her out. Sometimes that's the cost of favoritism. And for me, life goes on, free from their manipulations, focusing on my own future.